Do you like weapon mods? Well, I hope you like weapon mods because this was a massive week for new weapon mods for Fallout 4. A lot of stuff that has been extremely anticipated over the past few weeks all got released pretty much in the last 2 to 3 days, which is pretty crazy. There's definitely going to be a lot of great content in this video to fill out your arsenal, but with that we do have another episode of Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. This is a series where I highlight some of the best releases for Fallout 4 that came out in the past week. You can find links to everything I do show you down below in the description, but without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So starting things off, we have the ACR-W17. This is a pretty interesting mod. It's actually a bit different than a lot of the other weapon mods we have seen before. The ACR is a really iconic weapon. You did see it in Call of Duty, and I imagine this mod author also saw it in Call of Duty because this has a lot of the similar attachments and customizability that you would find in a game like Call of Duty. Right off the bat, there's a ton of modification between different receivers, different magazine types, different scopes, stuff like that. You could have this weapon firing custom rounds like electric rounds, radiation rounds, cryo rounds. There's a bunch of different options here. But even further, there's some pretty interesting attachments. You could have a foregrip, but also things like a heartbeat sensor, laser sight, flashlight. Really, one of the big parts about this weapon is there is a ton of customizability. Also, something pretty distinctive is some of the reloads and kind of just animations for this gun are pretty distinctive. A lot of weapons have tied together magazines. It's a pretty common thing, but this actually has you flipping that magazine over, and I just really liked the reloads. They felt refreshing when compared to a lot of other weapon mods out there. In addition, this weapon actually has a prestige system. So basically, as you accumulate more and more kills with it, you will unlock different things, starting off with some low-level kills like 50, 100, and 150, unlocking some of the different paint jobs that will be available. But then there's actually 3 even more custom things called the Scavenger, Warlord, and Medic Prestiges. These again are going to be locked behind kills from this weapon, so 250 kills, then 500, then 750. To unlock the first level of each of those, then the further levels require more. Scavenger is going to basically make it so you find more and better loot. Warlord is going to make it so your action points refresh a bit faster and you do just have more of them all around. And then finally, the Medic one is going to make it so your health regen is a bit faster. All these are going to have custom things on your weapon. They are something you unlock and it has stat boost, but it also does have a visual component. All around, this is a really cool gun. It definitely needs some polish, I think, which hopefully the mod author will do over the next few weeks. Some of the animations are a little bit quick, as well as the gun does have a few bugs here and there, but all around, it's a really refreshingly unique weapon and something that I definitely would recommend checking out. So we have a pretty big new release, that with the mod configuration menu. This was a massive mod for Fallout New Vegas. It put simply, what this is going to do is add in a new menu in the kind of escape menu there, where a bunch of different mods will have the ability to configure some of their different stats. Since this hasn't been released until now, a lot of mods took to making holotapes, which is kind of frustrating because you had to go through the load and unload animation of holotypes to configure any of these stats about any of these different mods. I imagine in the next few days, you're going to see a lot of mods update to being able to use this really convenient menu that's a lot simpler. In addition, Register 2000, the mod author behind this, released a mod for this. It's going to be called R2K's Gameplay Mods. It's a few cool little gameplay mods that are taking advantage of this new menu and just kind of changing something about the game. You have one called Quick Swap, which by hitting a hotkey, you're going to switch between 2 different weapons, kind of a primary and sidearm system in Fallout 4. You have Fast Pip-Boy, which just allows you to look at your Pip-Boy a bit faster. It reduces the time to bring it up. VATS Move, which is pretty interesting, basically allowing you to move in VATS as you are shooting. This one's kind of wonky, but it definitely has some practical uses in certain situations. And then finally, Helmet Toggle, which again does allow you to toggle your helmet on and off. So if you're conversing with a different NPC, you could really get into the immersion factor here and make it so your face is actually visible, but then having it back on when you do go into combat. All around, a pretty monumental new release and something that you're going to probably download because some other mod's going to use this and want you to require it. So another really unique mod, AutomatronSDTank, is basically going to add in tanks to the robot crafting bench. Again, these are totally customizable mini tanks with a bunch of different components. You have the standard tank treads on the bottom. There's only one option here, but as far as different projectiles, you do have a regular tank cannon, a carry, which is basically going to increase the carry weight rather than being an offensive tank. It just kind of follows you around as a little storage cell. A Fat Man, a flamer, a Gatling laser, just a normal laser, and then a missile launcher. It's actually quite a simple mod. Basically, you create a new robot, attach some of these different things to it, and then on the torso you can pick the projectile type. But in execution, it is a ton of fun to use. Having a bunch of these little tanks following you around definitely makes you feel like you are kind of a paramilitary soldier or something like that. It is a really unique and awesome mod, and something that I'm happy M150 has brought to us. So we do have the AUG. This is actually a mod you might be like, hey, we have one of these already. Well, it's going to be a different one. This is by the shiny HAXORUS. He was working on this before the other AUG by Hyper and Friends did come out. And this is another extremely high quality mod by the shiny HAXORUS, both in visuals, the reload animations, and just really everything about this. It's actually quite similar. There's going to be some minute differences between the two guns, but one of the major things here is it's going to have a A1 and an A2 variant. You can switch between these two. One's going to be more of a tactical variant, while the other one's going to have the integrated sight and probably be the AUG you're more used to seeing in video games. The other one is only the A1 variant. In addition, one of the pretty big standout features is some of the different paint jobs you do have available, and one actually being locked away in a case, which I really loved. I thought it was cool to get this legendary edition with the gold paint job that you can only get in one specific location. All around, again, between the two AUGs, they're both extremely high quality. Fortunately, you don't have to pick. These aren't paid. You could just have both of them on your save game and encounter them as you will. Then we have the Glock 17 and 18. Basically, the Glock 17 is going to be the semi-automatic version of this gun, while the Glock 18 is going to be fully automatic. This gun's a ton of fun to use. There's a few different options as far as customizability goes, but I don't really think that's the proponent of this mod. One of the more notable things is the slide customization on the Glock 18. You could actually have a custom top slide there, but all these are hidden away with different magazines. So in order to get this gold slide, I actually had to find the gold Guns and Bullets magazine, and then you can customize your weapon in that sense. It really is just a ton of fun to whip this thing out and mow down enemies. It has a huge rate of fire. There's a few different magazine options, including a drum magazine, so you could truly unleash hell for a pretty long time, but it's going to require a lot of 38 ammo. This is going to be a great secondary. I actually really recommend using this maybe with that weapon switch mod I did show you earlier, having a traditional primary assault rifle or shotgun, but then this as a secondary to quickly switch to and maybe finish off someone is a great way to use it. And it really is just an extremely high quality mod. This is a very talented mod author who's released a ton in the past, and this is going to be no exception to that. So last but not least, we do have the KREBS AK. This is going to be another mod by Hyper and Friends, most notably Haru with the animations and Sava 41 with the model and textures. This gun is polished extremely well. It's pretty simple, like a lot of the other guns I did show you in weapon attachments. You have two barrel lengths, a suppressor or no suppressor, as well as a bunch of different scopes and sights. But again, just using this weapon really shows you the level of polish these mod authors do put together and really just expect of themselves. The animations are both in first and third person. Using them just feels so nice and clean. Even further, the sounds and just all the aspects about this gun are really good. As I did say, it's a very simple gun. It's more or less going to be a pretty compact AK style weapon, like a tactical AK. There's not a ton in the way of customizability. You kind of see what you get. You could have an ACOG, which is going to be the farthest zooming scope, but otherwise only one ammo tape. It's going to fire 5.56 and feature a few different texture options. I really love this kind of camo I'm using here. It really just makes you feel like a guerrilla warfare soldier, something that's kind of hired by a faction to go kill some people. Definitely getting demonetized for that, but regardless, it is a really well polished weapon. That's the point I want to emphasize here. You might see it through the video and be like, oh, it looks kind of basic, but download this because it's a pleasure to use, and you should be using, frankly, all these weapons. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. As always, I thank all of you for watching. I thank you for the support you guys have been giving me on my latest videos, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you throughout the week for my regular uploads and next Sunday for another episode of Mods Weekly. But with that, I'll see you guys all next time. Later.